Mr. Yang, you were attacked, so let me give you 30 seconds.
Venture for America created thousands of jobs around the country, as documented by Vox and many other outlets. It was honored not once but twice by the Obama administration, and it operated in Detroit, New Orleans, Baltimore, Cleveland, Birmingham, cities that are majority minority. So I'm incredibly proud of the work that
So that's Andrew Yang. That's what Andrew Yang sounds like. He's running against 12 other candidates to become New York City mayor. This is all about the different scandals, okay? He's had to go through a whole bunch of scandals. The first one is Andrew Yang and the Bodega Scandal. Now, Andrew Yang and the Bodega Scandal, he's just walking through, you know, like a convenience store, and it's like a super shiny convenience store. So bodega, definitions of bodegas, it's a small-time neighborhood store. So I guess it's got to be like just a sole proprietorship, right? Or maybe a co-op, maybe 2 owners, 3 owners, tops. But he's walking through like some sort of, you know, like Chevron, like a high-class fucking a bodega, especially a small-time neighborhood store. And he's in this like big-ass fucking. It didn't look like a bodega, so I could understand he called it a bodega, and this is Bodega Gate, right? So he was in a nice, shiny corporate spot. Maybe it's a corner store, not really mom and pop, you know, small ownership kind of place. And then he left his bananas. He paid the clerk, said, you know, keep the change, and then walked away and left the bananas that he was trying to buy. So really, this was really a non-controversy. He said it was a bodega, but it wasn't really a bodega. But now we're saying, hey, what the fuck is a bodega? Oh, it's okay. Corner store, a little tiny corner convenience store, right? He paid for the bananas. Really, the biggest controversy out of the Andrew Yang and the Bodega Scandal was that he paid for the bananas and then walked away without them. So, you know, I hope he went back and actually got his bananas back. Now, here's a little bit of Francesca Fiorentina's the Situation Room, which is interesting because this is another controversy, or the B-word-ation. How the hell am I supposed to say the title of her show?
The government is very much behind. It seems like the Scott Stringer pop, a union is behind Maya, and like the younger activist kind of types are split between like Diane leading and then with Scott Stringer as well. But those 3, the other guy you mentioned who's a front runner, Adams, is a cop, you know, and he's going to do very pro-police things. Yang really, there's so many red flags he sends to us. I just wish I could, if I sit down with every New Yorker for like 5 minutes, we could get through this. But like, he opened his campaign with a guy, Richie Torres, who was like a new rep who used to be in local government here, and he is the most like sellout person you'll ever meet. And in his case in particular, there's a letter in New York of all the mothers who lost their children to NYPD violence, basically saying he betrayed us. He looked at us in our face. He betrayed us. Do not trust this person. And the first person, he serves the Bronx, which is among the poorest, most marginalized communities in the U.S. and if you measure certain things all across the world. And his first action as an elected rep there to Congress was to do events like pinkwashing Israeli annexation.
That's right.
So like he's very much positioning himself as like the receiver of like all the dark money, all of the bad influence stuff, and Yang chose him not because he's skilled or anything, as a signal that to all the bad guys, like this is our dude. And Yang has kind of tried to cover that by trying to do this libertarian thing where he's also like posing in pictures with lefty people and bringing on some of those people and trying to.
So that's that Rafael Shimunes. So that's another scandal, right? Richie Torres. Andrew Yang got Richie Torres' endorsement. Who's Richie Torres? Oh, he's only the guy that fucked over the Mothers Union. They created a union for the victims of police violence. He only fucked those people over, his own constituents. So, yeah, that's Andrew Yang. So this guy actually seems to be way more in depth. I'm just kind of doing a surface because it's like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that because it seemed like, yeah, typically with the campaign, like a Catherine Garcia. I can't stand watching her, but she never flubbed, right? She didn't mess up. There wasn't a stutter, or she didn't say the one thing and mean the other. She's boring. She don't say a goddamn thing. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is, Andrew Yang, here's one big controversy. He was talking to a person, a voter of New York. He was talking to a voter of New York, and the guy was telling him some kind of story, and then he slips out the B word. The B word slips out, and then Yang starts to laugh it off and kind of like, oh shit, this is in front of the camera. This ain't going to make me look good. And then he kind of laughs it off and then kind of turns away from the camera and then walks away. So Maya Wiley, she comes up and she goes, this is disqualifying. A whole bunch of people, a state senator and shit, said that this was terrible, the worst thing they've ever experienced or heard. What? Andrew Yang was next to a person that used the B word, and you didn't, call him out on it. You didn't, get in his face and say, hey, mister, my mother was a woman. Don't you use that word around me, mister. And I'm sure Maya Wiley's never used it. And I just finished watching Francesca Fiorentini, and her show is called The B-Word-uation Room. And that didn't even make sense. I had to say it in order to say the thing. The situation, but not sitch. So, what? Okay, I could give the word up, but I mean, it's one syllable, and sometimes it's good to, throw it at a man, right? Like, that hurts women, and it hurts men. It's kind of universal, just hurts everybody. What am I saying? The B word, yeah, Anna and Gene Ugar, right? They said the B word, right? So Anna Kasparian and Gene Ugar, they can't run for New York City, apparently. They can't run for mayor of New York City. Anybody that's Dave Chappelle, he says the B word a lot. A lot of rappers, a lot of comedians. Chris Rock. Eminem. So, yeah, there you go. Eminem will never be mayor of New York City. Because New Yorkers, they never heard that word before. What? What does that word even mean? I've never even heard of. And that was a controversy. And that was like, a state senator said it's disqualifying. No, he can't be. He was sitting next to the guy, and they said the B word, and he didn't just. What would they have done? I would love to have seen how they would have reacted to that situation. That exact same situation, or one similar, but maybe the shoe on the other foot. Right? So moving on. UBI plan. There was a joke that was in the situation with a B. The TV show. The Bituation Room. And I was like, bitch. So Yang calls his UBI plan the BI plan because it's not universal anymore. 8 million New Yorkers will not get a goddamn dime from the fucking BI plan. Only 500,000 will, and it'll only be 2,000 for the whole year. So it's only like a goddamn, MTA card or some shit, which transportation should be free anyways. So Andrew Yang dropped the U off the UBI, and really it's not a basic income, $2,000, so you should just kind of just drop the BI. He's more of an AI kind of guy anyways, right? Whatever his consultants are, he just kind of mathematically, whatever, He moves his fucking hands too fucking much. He's just moving his fucking hands, every word he says, and none of it's like fucking, specific. It's not like, a major point or something. It's just, like, look at my hands when I talk because you like to look at things that move. I'm catching your attention. Somebody was saying also, Francesca's fiance now was talking about how Andrew the Yang's got so little charisma that he's just so fucking awkward. It's just, they don't see the appeal because he's just terrible and awkward. But maybe that's the appeal, is that he's trying to, and he's just terrible and awkward, but at least he's trying. So he's just like the douchebags at home. He's just like you. He's just like, you need to go vote. Look how awkward and stupid he is. Aren't you? You're awkward and stupid. At least he's trying. Maybe that's the appeal. I don't know. So there you go, Maya Wiley. She's never said the B word ever. The Yang cartoon. So there was a guy that drew a cartoon of Yang, and it was borderline racist. I felt like I wasn't 100% convinced of it. I mean, how do you get into the mind? They had, like, Asian features, but Andrew Yang is a foreigner to New York City, so the fact that, I guess, the caricature was enhancing the Asian features, and I gotta admit, Andrew Yang, he looks a little Asian looking. I mean, he's probably American, but maybe somewhere, great-grandfather or something might have been born, you know, somewhere in the East, somewhere. I don't know. I don't want to. Am I allowed to say any of this? So that was a scandal that happened to him. He said it seemed racist to him. He's like, yeah, it seems racist to me, And they all seem so Trumpian, just making a big fucking deal about every little goddamn thing. If it was disqualifying, then how the fuck did Andrew Yang weather these storms? If it was disqualifying, what about the Israel tweet, right? A lot of New Yorkers just love Israel no matter fucking what, right? But then you got a lot of progressives that love Palestine, you know, Palestine no matter what. So Andrew Yang is, you know, pro-Palestine or pro-Israel. Andrew Yang is 100% in Israel's back pocket, and he can't give a flying fuck about the Palestinians. He cannot care about the people of Palestine, the state of Palestine, two-state solution. No, no, no. He is catering to the pro-Israel crowd, just like Sarah Palin. So Israel and Palestine tweet, that was a scandal. And then this last major scandal is something he had said at a debate. At a recent debate, Andrew Yang had shared his hatred of the crazy homeless. He says when he gets into office, he's going to clean the crazy homeless, just sweep the fucking crazy homeless into a ditch, out of the people's way, to where they'll just, you know, be forgotten. So you don't have to put up with them. You don't have to be annoyed by them. They won't be a nuisance. It won't make you feel bad because, you know, you're ignoring a major crime that's... Okay, so Andrew Yang on homeless. That should pull it up, right? Let's see here. Emma Vigilant, let's give... Look, because none of the forced voters are talking about New York City, I'm having to fucking watch Sam Cedar. Fucking pricks. None of you forced voters can talk about New York City. Are all y'all haters of democracy?
Last night, the New York
a lot goes into a democracy. You got to pay attention to the candidates. You got to research. You got to weigh these things out.
It's particularly vicious. Here's a quick taste of his rhetoric about New York's most vulnerable.
Quick taste.
Yes, mentally ill people have rights, but you know who else have rights? We do. The people and families of the city. We have the right to walk the street and not fear for our safety because a mentally ill person is going to lash out at us.
So that's just a 10-second clip. He goes on a much longer rant later, but homeless people distinctly othered in that statement. We have rights. They are mentally ill. They're scary. And his proposal is essentially to institutionalize them through forced commitment against their will. But he didn't stop there.
The fact is, mentally ill, homeless men are changing the character of our neighborhoods. A woman, my wife Ellen is friends with in her mom group in Hell's Kitchen, was punched in the face by a mentally ill man. Sent a picture of her bruised face around the mom group, spread like wildfire. This is happening in New York City, and we're not talking enough about it. Families are leaving as a result. In East Harlem, the neighborhood has been changed. Upper West Side, the neighborhood has been changed. We owe our people and our families better than this, and I'm frustrated by the political nature of these responses. I mean, we're not talking about housing affordability. We're talking about the hundreds of mentally ill people we all see around us every day on the streets and the subways. We need to get them off of our streets and our subways into a better environment. And when you ask what I'm going to do differently, I'm going to rebuild the stock of psych beds in our city because the number's gone down 14%. It should be going up 100% until there are resources necessary for anyone who's mentally ill to not be on our streets. It's not right for them. It's not right for our city. There will be no recovery until we resolve this. I will fix this, New York.
Thank you, Mr. Yang.
That is the greatest non-answer I've ever heard.
Okay.
I mean, Stringer then goes after, oh, how are you going to pay for it? Which is great line of attack there, but there's so much there. This rhetoric should not come as a shock because Andrew Yang just 2 days ago was endorsed by the NYPD Captains Union. This is who's funding his campaign as well, or who's running it at the very least, has ties to the police union. He's one of the 2 candidates in the race who will not defund the police or cut their budget in any way. The other one's Eric Adams. So he's leaning into what they want to hear. And Yang's UBI plan, which isn't a UBI, saps resources from homeless services and then gives stipends for once-a-year checks, and you'd have to forego government services in order to receive it. So it's actually libertarian garbage, but it comes back to his resentment towards homeless people. And what he equates there is real New Yorkers. Homeless people, they're not real New Yorkers. There's absolute horror for wealthy New Yorkers to have to look at homeless people. He equates that to their human dignity. And there is something really insidious behind his rhetoric here. It was really disturbing to watch, and it goes to show that when you're running a libertarianish kind of right-wing campaign under the guise of progressivism, this is really what's beneath the surface. But as the people who are funding his campaign have said proudly, he doesn't really have any political core. He's kind of an empty vessel. I think that was the quote. And now it's been filled with garbage, law and order, dehumanizing garbage that would affect people in our most vulnerable population, institutionalize them against their will, and I don't think it's even constitutional, let alone it's absolutely disgusting.
So that was amazing. Emma Vigilant giving credit where credit is due. I don't know why forced voters can't say shit about the New York City mayor's election. They're boycotting it because they want democracy to die, and when democracy dies, then they can say, okay, it's time for a people's war. See? Democracy doesn't work. It didn't work because you didn't fucking try. You're sitting there, what? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think Emma Vigilant kind of convinced me. So, judging by the scandals, Andrew Yang and his string of scandals during this campaign, none of these scandals have really stuck. And even this last one, I'm 100% behind every fucking thing that Emma Vigilant just said. Every goddamn thing she just fucking said. It's libertarian fucking garbage. The UBI plan, he's a motherfucking stooge of the goddamn police union. Motherfucker's taking all this goddamn money with the venture capitalist. What was that shit? The venture capitalist had something to do with some fucking ballot measure in California, how the language had tricked the fucking people of California to vote against, they were pro-Bernie Sanders, but the thing was like anti-Bernie or some shit. I don't know. But big money, fucking hedge funds, venture capitalist, police union. He's an empty vessel. And they just filled with a bunch of... So, I'm going to say 2 things here. Both are contradictory, so I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out as... But this has actually been a perfect campaign because I've seen people say the exact opposite. Like, it's about time somebody said that. Yeah, we see these crazy homeless, and I'm sick of them, too. So I've seen people say, finally, he's speaking my mind. Finally, Andrew Yang is speaking my mind, right? So I've seen that reaction. I don't know if it was a tweet, if it's a fucking bot, or what the fuck, if it was organic or real. But I've seen that. And so this could be a victory or it could be a failure, depending on the people of who are the Democrats of New York. Are they conservative? Are they Republican? It does seem like the Republicans are running in the Democrat race because it's a Democrat city. So this is where that fucking guy with the beret, that weird fucking guy, that weird Republican with the beret, you think that motherfucker's going to win? Why do the Republicans even try? God, it's better to put up nobody than a fucking douchebag. But the New York Republicans... They're douchebag strong. I don't know. But Andrew Yang, I was going to say that this was a flawless campaign halfway through Emma Vigilant's little speech there, little 3-minute speech. that this is a perfect campaign because really, I mean, none of this fucking landed. None of it fucking landed. The bodega thing, the B-word thing, the UBI thing is actually, I think, more, like, disgusting to me. Motherfucker claim to fame is UBI. Motherfucker isn't even doing anything close to UBI. The reason why I like UBI is because it's a big-ass fucking thing. To get it actually accomplished, you got to really have, you know, you got to have the fucking money and you got to have the vision and the dream. And if you're not, you know, actually being serious about this shit, you're going to end up killing the fucking idea itself. So, him having a little bit of charisma, his policies being fucking right-wing as shit, the cartoon of Yang that, you know, gets sympathy for him. Maybe it was racist, but maybe not. Maybe it's just like, you know, Maya Wiley being like, B-word, how dare you? You know, then it's just, everybody's just making fucking hay out of any goddamn thing that they can make hay out of. Is that racist? Oh, yeah, that's racist. Are you sure? Are you just saying this just so I print that you just said it was racist, or do you really believe it? It's like, motherfucking politicians lie. Who knew? Who fucking knew? The Israel-Palestine, he's on the wrong side of that fucking conflict. And so really, if you know, care about the Republican democracy and you look at the policies of Andrew Yang, you have to be disgusted by Andrew Yang. The entire, you know, just as much as I say that it's a success, it's equally a failure in terms of it being a terrible, what the fuck does he represent? Maybe the People's Bank, I think, might be the only, like, really fucking progressive, solid progressive idea that he's got, a People's Bank. But that's it. That's it. Just over and over again, he's showing you he's fucking right-wing. He's telling you he's right-wing. Don't defund the police. Right-wing fascism. Fuck the goddamn homeless. UBI, yeah, let's just give it to a couple people, but you got to renounce all other fucking plans. So really, you're what? Saving money, right? If you get your fucking $2,000 a year, then you just... So, yeah, I'm not sure if he got those bananas at that bodega or not, you know? Remember when it was just about bananas and bodegas? Remember when it was just about bananas and
Adventure for
bodegas?
America did. And we need to take that exact same ingenuity and innovation to other parts of the problems we are facing as a city. We are being set up with a multi-billion-dollar budget deficit in 2.5 years, and everyone on the stage should be livid about it, unless you don't expect to be mayor. But if you expect to be mayor, you have to be...